According to the U.S. National Institute of Health, the parent's behavior towards a child and the parent-child interaction and the relationship can all be deeply disrupted by a mental illness. The mental illness may also offset the overall process of the child's development through its entire course. We as a society are prone to ensuring everybody's happy and equal, but sometimes that can be tricky when it comes to situations that we don't understand or diseases that are tricky to understand. Families with a mentally ill parent are not that common, but for the overall good of our communities, we should want to do better and help those in need. In sum, I will go over the amount of families with a mentally ill parent or relative. I will go over the types of abuse and neglect, and also how the mentally ill parenting may affect the child. So how important is this issue really? Let's look at the numbers. The National Children's Alliance said that nearly 700,000 children are abused annually in the United States. They also did a report back in 2015 on child maltreatment in the United States, and they estimated about 1,700 children died from abuse that year. Preventative measures for children of mentally ill parents desperately needs re-improvement. The lack of nutrition and rise in abuse is impacting the future of our communities. Abuse from mentally ill parents is not all that uncommon, but the effects on the children are more noticeable. So next we'll go over the types of abuse and neglect that are associated with mentally ill parenting. The Journal of Child and Family Studies states that the parent was sometimes physically absent due to hospitalizations or episodes, and they also reported that the parent was mentally absent, which can be detrimental to the child's learning capabilities of understanding emotions. This type of neglect can cause a child to have difficulties in forming secure attachments or healthy coping habits, and that's due because the mother does not supply the first secure attachment. The journal mentions a sense of selflessness. They reported that in their teenage years, they were emotionally and psychologically overwhelmed by their own experiences. They felt lost and they didn't know who they were. And as teenagers, that can be very dangerous because that's in your developing years and you can form unhealthy coping habits or dangerous relationships. So if the person does not receive the support that they need, it could lead to numerous bad outcomes. That also in the journal, they reported feeling selfless but inflicting fear, and that it can be detrimental to a child's development, especially in the early years. Research in mental health tends to focus on the individual with the disease alone, but in this situation, it needs to be evaluated by the whole, with including the whole family, due to it affecting everybody. The School of Social and Cultural Studies at Massey University reported that schizophrenic mothers provide less play stimulation, fewer learning experiences, and less emotional involvement. This may be associated with poor intellectual and social abilities in their children. This may also imply why some adults have social anxiety, learning disabilities, or less emotional control. The article also states why focusing on the risk factors does not tell us about the whole child's development. They also noted that the child developed resilience and strength through living with the mentally ill parent. Although children of parents with schizophrenia run a higher risk of mental illness or having the chance of mental illness, the majority of them don't have that outcome. Most research is concerned with the children's long-term risk of clinically deficient developmental deficits, and that summarizes the point of the effects that children develop over the course of the time under the care of a mentally ill parent. So overall, there is obviously a problem that could be relapsing if we don't help these people in need now. The effects of malparenting on the later developed child can be lifelong and require constant support. This is why we should help them now. But in review, there are all too many adults with mental illnesses raising children to have multiple social, mental, and physical disabilities at such a young age. So we as a community can help, and I hope that's what we do.